Hi everyone, here's GigantoGaming and welcome back to a brand new video, or should I say, the episode 2 of the Mario Kart Rediscovered series. And guys, I must say, thank you. The first episode made more than 300 views, that's a lot. I hope the second episode will be even more popular. Also, today, Ritter will join me. Come introduce yourself.
Hey guys, it's me Ritter. You may also have known me as Rosa Daisy DK fan. Today I'll be joining Giganto for a look through more unused and scrap content from Super Mario Kart.
So, in the second episode, we will take a look at the many prototypes of Super Mario Kart, uncompiled or not. I will obviously talk about the most interesting stuff, because, you know, if I talk about everything the video will be an hour long. But before checking them, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel. Only 3% of you who watch this video are subscribed to my channel, and inside that will be a lot. And it's free! Subscribing to my channel is free! Now guys, bring a good coffee, chill a bit, and let's take a look at those prototypes. First is the early 1991 Alpha. This appears to be a general driving test. This prototype isn't compiled and can be found in the GigaLeak. Yes, the infamous GigaLeak that we talked about in the first episode. I tried to get access to the Alpha. I asked SMK Workshop Discord server if it's possible to know how and where are the assets, because I might have access to the code. But unfortunately, they couldn't tell me because, you know, it might cause all of us to be in some big trouble. So I will only show gameplay from this build through YouTube videos and images from the cutting room floor, not my gameplay, unfortunately.
In this prototype, there's no sound, and the only characters present are Mario, Luigi, who just uses Mario's graphics but in green, and Bowser. 5 tracks are present: H00, K00, K01, K02, and K03. While not being 100% certain, it seems like the H00 track might have been used for the hovercraft mode and the K tracks for the kart mode. The track ZE2X SER that we talked about in the very first episode was likely one of the used ones since it has a timestamp of July 11th, 1991. Only one tileset has been used in this prototype, most likely the ZE2 CGX tileset, which was likely used as a timestamp of June 20th, 1991. It also possesses some of the water tiles which would correspond to the hovercraft mode. And yeah guys, that's why there were some water tiles, it was most likely for the hovercraft mode.
When you load the prototype, it jumps directly to the menu with again no sound. Multiple options are available. Control, which makes you choose between 2 modes, the kart mode and the hover mode. The hover mode meaning the hovercraft mode. Driver, which lets you choose between Mario, Luigi or Bowser. Count 1 means the player 1 and count 2 means the second player. The internal names of the characters are Mario, Luigi and Koopa. Pressing start will directly boot you up to the race. In the earlier version of the Alpha, there is only the option kart and hover. Because yes, I let one information out for this moment. There is not just one Alpha, but 2 of them. I will first talk about the later version, which is dated June 25. The earlier version is surprising to say the least. So, when booting up to a race, well, there are no set goals, so you can do whatever you want. There are no items, HUD, nor CPU drivers. Well, technically they are here, but they don't move. They just stand, watching and waiting patiently until the end. Oh, and there are no wall collision, so you can just drive even out of bounds.
The starting position is on the same place on every track but differs depending on the selected mode. The kart mode will put you in the middle left side of the track, and will hover puts you in the middle of the track. And as you can see in the pictures we're showing right now, you can see that the drivers are bunched up together too. Other minor differences include the camera not always being behind you, the drivers glitching in the distance, the background consists of one layer and is only displayed on the player 2 screen, and pressing Y, B, select and start will reset the game. Kart mode physics are very different than the final game. You cannot drift or hop, and driving in reverse is very buggy. You can also drive in reverse with A.
The hover mode controls are similar to a hovercraft, strong handling with fast rotation. Pressing up decreases the handling, while pressing down increases it. Unlike in kart mode, you can drive in reverse. If you add this along with jack and a hovercraft and the water tiles found in ZE2 Mario.cgx heavily points towards the idea of a racing with hovercraft machines. Unfortunately, this mechanic was cut. Now, let's take a look at the earlier version. This earlier version is dated June 10, 1991, 15 days before the later version. Besides its different main menu, there are small differences in game. Here's an image of this earlier build. Jack! Jack is here! And that's not all, there are different versions of Jack! A blue and a green version. Okay guys, I have names for them. The blue one is Jacko and the green one is Jacket. Say hi to Jacko and Jacket immediately.
So other than Jack, Jacko and Jacket, the angles and sizes for the driver graphics are arranged differently. It possesses a close-up graphic displayed when another driver is very near the camera. Something like this doesn't exist in any other prototype of Super Mario Kart. In kart mode, it is sometimes required to hold up and down several seconds while holding B to finally drive. These controls seem horrible. Handling in hover mode is less strong than the later alpha. The camera isn't always behind the player in hover mode. Only 2 tracks can be loaded, 1 per mode. The characters cannot be selected. The player 1 will have the first colour palette and the second one will have the second palette. 4 of the other 6 drivers will load the third palette.
Okay, we finished the alpha build, but before talking about the next prototype, I will do something. See, the alpha builds do not have any sort of names other than the 1981 alpha, which is too basic for me. So hear me out. I am gonna give a name for the earlier alpha. This name is the Jog Kart build. Guys, I want this name in the comment info page about this alpha build, please. Okay, now let's see the second, or third technically, uncompiled build. Here is the November 29, 1991 prototype, the same month as my birthday. However, the build was actually built on November 7th, even closer to my birthday. And so, for this build, I will name it the Giganto build. Before talking about what's inside the build, I have to warn you about something. A lot of work has been put through Python to create the build the most accurately as possible. So there might be some stuff in this recreation not accurate. I will only talk about the stuff that are truly from this prototype. Oh, and this time I have the build, so everything that you see is recorded by me. Upon booting the build, we can see that the title screen, race results, podium, card select and world select screens are not implemented yet. The prototype does not have any sound drivers, so there's no sound! There are 2 game modes available, race and bat, bat meaning battle mode. Speaking of battle mode, there are 2 unfinished battle modes, test and gun. The prototype uses the early item box graphics, showing 1p and 2p instead of 1 and 2 in the final game. In game, some differences can be noticed. You can drift no hoping, even though the drifting is mentioned in the source files. It's possible to turn around while extending. Coins and lives are implemented, lightning, blue and the 2 times coins are implemented. There are some unfinished items, one of which evolved into the poison mushroom. The AI drivers don't use items yet. When you're underwater, you can still see the driver above the water. Like It 2 doesn't pick you up when you're underwater. Like It 2 rescuing animation aren't finished. The timer is not capped at 9:59.99. A splashing effect can be seen when falling off a track. Other drivers in the distance are a bit shaky. There is no pause screen when pressing start. When racing to the goal or end of the race, the game won't fade out to any other screen. And finally, there is no winning animation yet, and the driver camera simply locks when driving over the finish line.
Now let's take a look at the main menu. There are 6 modes available: Man-Man, Man-Mon, Mon-Man, Man-Com, Com-Man, and Com-Com. The A or Play 1 represents the upper screen, and the B or Player 2 represents the bottom screen. The Man mode represents the players, the Com mode represents the AI, and the Mon mode indicates the screen that will be used as a monitor screen. There are 8 characters available. Jack and his friends have obviously been removed by this point. Mario, Luigi, Koopa, Bowser in Japan, Peach, Kong with a C, DK Jr., Noko or Koopa Troopa, Kino, Toad in Japanese, and finally Yoshi. Now we're going to display how the Mon mode functions with its different options. FR view, REA view, SD view, long pair, no pair S1, no pair S2, and no pair S3. Now let's see the race mode. At this point in time, the race mode is mostly finished. Each race contains 8 players and 5 laps. However, the Grand Prix doesn't exist yet. When you finish a race, the camera no longer turns around the racer, but will act like the SD view mode. Interestingly, the finished racer's sidebar in the final game is slightly different here. The entire display of the 8 racers is shown for the entirety of the race and updates constantly to show the racer's position, similar to Mario Kart 64. This build also lacks the coin counter and the life counter.
Now let's see the battle mode. The battle mode prototype is extremely unfinished. It possesses 2 battle modes, which are internally named Test and Gun. Both of those battle modes are merely proof of concept, so nothing too special you would say. But even then, they are interesting. The battle modes can be selected by the Battle OBJ option in the ED3 mode. The test battle mode consists of 12 objects moving over the battlefield. These objects are displayed in the upper screen as coins and in the bottom screen as balloons that we see in the final game. The mode, however, have a few bugs. The coins have no collision when they're supposed to have collisions, for example, and some coins have the collision-based RAM set as garbage bites, which makes sometimes these objects will not start with the ability to be collided with. If you manage by luck, stupid bug, to hit one of the objects, they will be kicked away from momentum. Like when you kick a ball, for example. The more you have speed when you kick the object, the more the object will be faster. However, there is also a chance that you get hit by the object, kinda like the banana peel. The items are also disabled in this mode. We can theorize that the goal of this rather weird battle mode is to kill the objects within the opponent field, something like volleyball. Fans also reference this battle mode as coin collection mode.
Now let's take a look at the gun mode. This mode consists of 2 players holding an object behind them. Similar to how you can hold a banana peel, for example. When the player presses L or R, they can shoot their respective object forward and disappear sometime after. The object acts as a green shell with a lifetime. They can also bounce off of walls. When a player hits the object, they spin out. You can't shoot your object an infinite amount due to the limited space storage of the game. Due to the name of this mode, it is speculated that this battle mode is the machine gun mode mentioned in an interview. Items, just like the test mode, are disabled and there's no way to win in this battle mode. Okay, we don't really know what we can talk about in this proto, so let's see the February 13th, 1992 prototype. When you boot up the game, you can see the title screen is finally here and several new options are here. Here is the View Records option. It is supposed to load up another screen with the 5 best players' records. The screen file for this is present in the source, named REGISER and name SER.
And finally, the items on and off. This is very interesting because it can disable and enable the items for Grand Prix and versus race. The first time we heard about this is in a 1992 developer interview.
I think we struck a good balance. If you're in the lead, you can't get lazy or you're going to get it. The items introduce an element of luck into Mario Kart. No doubt for some people who played F-Zero really seriously, the whole idea of luck in a racer would be anathema. So originally we had an option to turn items on or off for the Grand Prix mode. This was our quick fix for that problem. But I think that as you play with the items, you come to realise that they're implemented in a balanced way. They give some hope when you've fallen behind and allow for the thrill of an upset victory. So on further consideration, we opted for a flow similar to Dr. Mario, and ultimately took the no item option out.
For general differences, there is no award ceremony cutscene. After finishing the last track of a cup, it advances to the next cup. The game crashes after the last track of the last cup, and like the other uncompiled builds, it's not possible to move the cursor with select yet. The steering and drifting work similarly to the April 13, 1992 prototype, with no hopping or automatic drifting implemented yet. You spin out sooner when drifting for too long. It's possible to turn your car slowly while not moving. In race, there is no camera intro animation in Grand Prix. In 2-player Grand Prix mode, the game displays live version tracker like in November 1991 prototype. After finishing a race, the computer doesn't take control of the racer. 2-player versus mode doesn't possess a coin counter. Like it doesn't appear when you're going in the wrong direction. Hitting an item and spinning you out doesn't kill momentum but locks the direction. The CPU opponents tend to lay bananas more oftenly. Laggitude doesn't appear when you're out of bounds, so you can move around freely. Bowser castles have the lava bubbles instead of swamps. And finally, the players start at the same place as the previous series. So, if you finish third, you will start third. For the audio, although the music is both missing and unknown, the sound being fired from 21st January 1992 seems to fit into place. The game sound code was based off SimCity sound code. There's only 2 music tracks for specific tracks. Sub-music like the story jingle didn't exist yet. The menu theme does not continue during screen transitions. Sometimes, when you hit a wall, it causes some samples of the music to change. And finally, the music sometimes doesn't play at all when some tracks or menus are loaded.
Now let's talk about the last thing of this prototype, the battle mode. There are 5 battle mode options compared to the 1991 November prototype. Those are Test, 3 Object and Gun, Gate Raise, Train, and It's Empty. For Gate mode, the starting position for the Gate battle mode fits the early maze-like battle track that we talked about in the first episode, suggesting it was the battle track used in this battle mode. And for the Whack-A-Mole, well, it's empty. There was no information about it on TCRF. So instead, let's see the next prototype, a very interesting one. Here is the April 13th, 1992 prototype. Yes, the one we kept hearing about, even in the first episode, I think.
For general differences, the small demos if you wait long enough in the title screen are present, the ability to navigate the menus with select isn't present yet, the 150cc class isn't present, the special cup is unlocked by default, all trophies for 50 and 100cc are unlocked by default, the rival order is the same, however they all have the same speed, and finally, the secret screen swaps trick doesn't require any button combo yet. In race, well, there's a lot of differences, so I'm just going to cite 5 of them. The coins, booze and lightning doesn't appear in item roulette, the bullet bill appears as a green shell, you don't lose coins when bumping to another racer, the mission for getting crushed by a swamp is longer, and finally there are no retry or end options when losing a race. For the controls, again I will only cite 5 differences. The hopping isn't possible, the rocket start and burnout aren't possible, automatic drifting isn't implemented yet, green shells can be dropped, and finally it's possible to get a star in the first place. Wow. Oh, a funny thing about this prototype is that you can't play Vanilla Lake 1 at all. In fact, it makes the game crash. Yeah, this prototype is buggy as hell, and I can't tell all the bugs because there are like 30 or more. Instead, let's take a look at the unused songs. First is title screen music, and it's completely different. Let's take a listen. It's not even the same song. This song is also very beautiful. I am sad it got cut. The character select screen lacks the organ instrumentation on the last channels. The battle mode music is different, the intro is notably missing. Donut Plains music is in a different pitch. The start music is a bit different. Donkey Kong Jr. team when he wins is completely different. And finally, the most interesting one, a completely different music meant for Vanya Lake. Let's take a listen. Vanya Lake have quite an interesting history with its music. It got two early versions before the retail version, but I will talk about this later on.
Now let's see the cut track from Super Mario Kart. Here is Choco Island 3, a unique course layout never saw in the final game. It has a few similarities to Choco Island 2, notably the similar routing with almost the same starting position and the idea of the curve with a shortcut through the chocolate. The track is referenced as Dart 01 and D01 in the source files, suggesting that Choco Island 3 was the very first Choco Island created by Nintendo. The most notable thing with this track is that Nintendo decided to scrap it in favour of Rainbow Road. A dark fate for this track, but it was definitely for the better. Wow, there is so much stuff, but we can't talk about it or else the video will be about an hour long. We will leave a link in the description below so you can see them. Vanilla Lake 1 has differences, for example, yada yada. Now here is the May 18th, 1992 prototype. It's the first prototype to be in English. Finally, because we don't read Japanese, even though we could understand what thing do what thing. Small demos when you wait long enough are finally here. The 4th place ending is added, tracks are in their final order, and the unique 2nd and 3rd place ending cutscenes have been swapped around. And guys, we're sorry to announce this, but Choco Island 3 has been replaced by Rainbow Road, so Choco Island 3 seems to have been removed between end April and early May. Press F for Choco Island 3.
Battle Course 4, which is Battle Course 1 in this prototype, now takes place in Mario Circuit. You can finally hop with L or R. The AI uses their specific items, and in battle mode, the players now start in the center of the map, facing each other. There are a ton of sounds added and finalized. Here's a screenshot of the choreographed floor. Graphics too have differences. A lot of gameplay differences are present. For example, the special cup is unlocked by default with time trial. You start with 2 lives instead of 3 in the final game. And finally, you start with 4 coins instead of 5. For the battle mode, the order of the battle stages is the same as the April 13, 1982 prototype, along with having the scrapped Choco Island battle team course. For the award sequence, several unique endings for ranking in the top 3 are present, with 2 of them being scrapped. In the 2nd place ending, the Super Koopa now spins after getting hit by a cork. In the 3rd place ending, the 4th Power Troopa bounces its way out after getting hit by the cork. The next prototype dated July 14th, 1992 doesn't have much difference as compared to this one. So let's see the one after. This prototype dated July 14th again? Somehow, one doesn't have many differences compared to the May one, but this one have some. Yeah.
So far the differences, and spoiler alert, only minor differences are left. The ending is completely implemented and the end screen is here. You can navigate menus using select. There's a build exclusive debug mode for the time trial mode. And for the gameplay, the driver stats are now finalised, Rainbow Road is updated, even if it's not identical to the final version. The AI feels finalised, or at least more polished compared to before. Ghost saving is finalised, and it's not possible anymore to skip the winning animation by pressing start compared to the final version. Oh, and by the way, if you dare press start and select at the title screen, well, the game crashes. Amazing. About Rainbow Road, its music still wasn't implemented, suggesting that Rainbow Road music was the last music made for Super Mario Kart. Toad and Peach's theme are slightly different too.
For the July 10th, 1992 prototype, even though its date is earlier than July 14th prototypes, it's actually a later version. Time travelers. There's nothing much interesting about this prototype because almost everything have been finalized by this point. The final prototypes discovered are basically almost the same as the final version, so yeah, there's nothing much. Well guys, it seems like... Hey, wait a minute. Have you talked about the last prototype? Who are you? A secondary character for this channel, but anyways, you should mention and talk about the last prototype. Yeah, you're right. Ritter, you do it.
So yes, there is a lost prototype that was slightly talked about with the Vanilla Lake music history. This prototype, although we do not have a confirmed date for it, seems to be from May or June 1992. The prototype possesses the infamous early theme of the Vanilla Lake music. The only thing we have from this prototype is a recording. We do not have much about it. In fact, at the time when we're speaking right now, making this video, we're unsure if the prototype still works. This prototype may be lost forever.
And here we are guys, we finally finished talking about the prototypes of Super Mario Kart. I hope you liked this video guys. In the final part, we'll talk about the final game. So if you don't want to miss this, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get notified whenever I upload a video. That was GigantoGaming, everyone, see you next time!